Good morning, beautiful divine beings. How's everyone doing? I think it's been like some months and I am so sorry. I don't know if I ever mentioned it, but I'm an actor. I do primarily live theater, and once I'm in a show, it's just I can't do anything else because I'm so tired. And I try and attempt to be mindful about doing like readings, touching my cards when I'm not in the best energy. So I do apologize for those of you who have followed me and those of you who enjoy my readings. I apologize for the absence. I am going to try to do better. So since I left you the last time you heard from me, it's been a bit of a wild ride. Yeah, things have been interesting to say the least. I have not been in the greatest mood. It almost felt like I was going through an awakening again. And I was like, another one? We have to do this again? How many of these do we have? Because I just don't think that I can like take another one. But you know what? Something very interesting happened over the course of the past month or so. So, Mercury actually, I think Mercury goes direct today. Today, actually? Yes, today, I think. And what's interesting about, Mercury retrogrades, first of all, I'm an Aries. So I like to call myself action oriented. I like to get stuff done. I'm usually not one to wait for other people to do it for me. It just needs to get done. And so I found myself, first of all, I had a talk with myself first thing, before it started. And I was like, things slow down. They slow down for a reason. So you can have more time to review them, so chill. Okay. Be chill through this. So how about I forgot that I even forgot that we were even in a retrograde. And I set off on this mission of making a particular thing happen. And during this time, I was reviewing things like my career. Typically, I'm reviewing past relationships and things that went wrong and what happened and feeling those feels. It all comes up so we can heal it. But this time it was about my career and the work that I've put into just creating the life that I want to live. And I just became incredibly fed up with this capitalistic society. And that's a whole nother video. But it finally hit me like last week. It's like, you're in a retrograde and here you are trying to make things happen. You need to sit down. So I think like for me, the message is about stillness and being able to receive. I've been in my masculine energy way too hard. So as a collective, I know some of you out there can relate. So let's get into the cards. Let's see what the cards have to say. Just an update, my style of reading. I like to let spirit lead and spirit tell us what we need to hear. Sometimes that deals with relationships. Sometimes it's your career. Sometimes it's these lessons out here that we're constantly having to learn. But in any case, what do we have? The entire deck's upside down. So I'm going to turn that around. Two of Swords. Just an FYI, I'm using the Modern Witch Tarot deck. Two of Swords. So it looks like we need to make a decision. And we're not making that decision. Instead, we're digging our heels in and like pulling the blindfold over our faces. Yeah, we have Strength. The Strength card, Major Arcana here. With an 8. Taming our ego. So this decision likely has to do with or the reason why we're not making this decision is due to ego. And the Spirit is telling us that Spirit is wanting us to temper or tame that. The ego is good for us and it helps us. But when our ego gets blown out of proportion, sometimes it takes over as a coping mechanism, and it's not so good, and it keeps us from our blessings. 3 of Cups. So yeah, we have a 3 of Cups here. Some people see this as a third party within a relationship, but here it's a collective of people coming together and celebrating. There's a celebration, there's a blessing. Like I said, the Spirit is trying to give to you, but you know, you're at this impasse. You have to make a decision. You can't have your cake and eat it too. So whatever that decision is that you're sitting on, that you don't want to make, and your intuition is telling you to do this, you know, whether it's, you know, put that 2 weeks notice in, get rid of that relationship, that friendship is no good for you. It's holding you back. It's keeping you from your blessing. It's keeping you from this celebration, the very things that you've been praying for and asking Spirit for. Sometimes, you know, I hear people say often, you can't take everyone with you. Sometimes you have to leave people behind so that you can walk into your purpose. We have Page of Wands. Page of Wands. Let's get another card. Whew. Page of Wands. Some more cards here. What I'm getting from this set of cards is having the wisdom to not neglect the small things. Know that the small things add up to the larger things that will ultimately lead you to where you want to go. Now, that's kind of a high level description of these cards. The pages are the youngest in the deck. They represent youth. And with youth, a lot of times we don't always have the wisdom, or we don't always have the best decision making. You know how they say hindsight is 20/20. There is potentially a higher level of a commitment coming your way. Like I said, whether that be career, whether it's in romance, or whether it's in a commitment to yourself even, commitment to your self-care. But we have the Page of Wands here. The Wands represent our fire signs, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. The Page of Wands is often that person that moves very quickly, very in and out, very spur of the moment, impulsive. I would describe myself as a person that can be quite impulsive. Simply because I get an idea, I feel passionate about it, and I act. And sometimes that's a good thing, but sometimes when you don't take the time to really think those actions through, or to sit on them for a little while, it becomes problematic because you make decisions. Like, I was literally making decisions last week that, hindsight, looking back on them, I was like, there was another way. Like, I didn't have to have a complete meltdown and quit my job. There was another way. There was another way. And here we have the Page of Pentacles. Pentacles represent earth signs. Taurus, I think Taurus, is it Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn? Earth signs have a tendency to be a little more grounded. And the good thing about that is, you know, they're typically those people that do take the time to process, to think. The potential problem with that is sometimes you sit in that analysis mode for way too long. So, to me, these two cards also represent having a balance between the two, knowing when to use the two, having the wisdom to decipher when you need to act on impulse versus when you need to pull back and look at the situation. Also, Page of Pentacles represents a message coming through. So some of you may have a passionate message coming through. It's potentially a message led by some type of impulse. So also be wise, be aware, and use use discernment. Word of the day, discernment. Let's see. I'll take that. Let's move these up. I forgot to say this, but of course you all know if this is not resonating for you, don't make it fit. Feel free to click off. It is not yours. You don't have to receive any of this. And on the flip side, if it does, you know, give it a like, a share, comment. I love to communicate with you guys. Let me know. Let me know where it's hitting. Okay, so we've got Eight of Swords, Chariot. Let's get more cards here. One more card. And Three of Swords. Nice. Okay. So, Eight of Swords typically represent a self-imposed prison. You holding yourself back, basically. In some decks, like I have the Vice Versa Tarot, which is like really cool. So it depicts the light versus the dark, mostly. So on one side of the card, so for instance, Eight of Swords, on one side of the card, you would have this traditional picture here, but on the back, you would see that this person's not even bound. Like the knot is loose enough for them to slip out of it. So it's that type of concept. Going back to what I mentioned here with that impulse, making that impulsive decision, which could potentially be the issue of why we're in a stalemate here. We're trying to make this decision, trying not to act on impulse, but at the same time, we're keeping ourselves bound by something. So like I always tell people, you always have options. You probably don't like the options that you have, but you have them. And sometimes making the right decision is not always the easiest thing to do. Sometimes making the right decision hurts people. And so we have Major Arcana here, Chariot. We've got, is this another? No, okay. We've got the Chariot here. Chariot represents fast movement. But unless the Chariot is balanced by the light and the dark here, we can't move forward. So you potentially have someone coming towards you that may have, you know, walked away from a higher level of commitment to you in the past. And even like I mentioned earlier, moved back to, I kind of moved them out of frame. Sorry, y'all. Moved back to, or went back to a third party situation, or moved or discard, I don't want to use the word discarded, or moved away from a connection because of, you know, a third party, which could be anything, a job, a house, finances, like chasing material things. But yeah, so like, and dare I switch this to a love reading, but this could potentially be someone thinking about messaging you with, oh, she scared me. Hush, lady. Moving towards you with a small offer. An offer that maybe they should have given you a long time ago. But they are stuck. They're stuck. They're afraid. Their ego's in the way. And so it's not allowing this chariot to move forward. Like, this energy is like everything is contradictory almost, but you've got these major arcanas here that kind of like help to, what is the word? Help to temper the energy. Okay, we have the Magician. All right, we have the Magician. Let's get another card. Two of Cups, of course. See what I'm saying? Like, I leave the subject matter open also so that I, like, have no influence on what comes out, because I want the message to truly be for the collective and for not just for me. But it's funny how everything leads back to what you're trying to manifest. And maybe my collective is attempting to manifest or trying to manifest love. But we have a Two of Cups with the Magician here. So the Magician is the first card of the major arcana. One's representing, you know, tens, and tens representing endings, one representing new beginnings. And so you may have a new beginning coming in with someone that is a soulmate, or should have been a soulmate. You see that this person, you have two people, one person is standing in water and one person is on the ground. So maybe in the past you had one person who was a little more emotional, and emotional is not a bad thing, who is giving of themselves emotionally. Sorry, I hit the camera way more than the other person. Yep. Oh, I'm gonna move this because it's not center. Okay. Yep, one person was giving more than the other, and someone has had, and this Ace of Swords is also like the yes card. Yes, you're on the right track. Yes, this spark of idea, like you sparked an idea, or someone is having a realization that this past connection was in fact their Ten of Cups. This is the Ace of Swords, also represents clarity. Let's see what we got. We have the World, the Tower, and the Sun. So the World represents the end of a cycle. Tower represents, again, a new beginning. It's not, sometimes our new beginnings don't look that way. Sometimes they look like utter and complete chaos, but they ultimately lead to what we have here, the sun. And the sun brings, illumination. The sun brings happiness. The sun is also represents the divine masculine. If you're, divine masculine. So we have potentially a masculine energy that is currently going through a tower moment where things are shifting. And, as you can see, like, this lightning has struck this building. So it's likely that it was storming way, way, way prior to the lightning actually striking the building. But it wasn't until the building set on fire that people jumped. And often that's the case. The divine will give you an opportunity to make the correction, make the leap of faith, do what you're supposed to do on your own. But it's eventually you're just going to get booted. Like, you're going to get pushed off of a cliff when you least expect it, because it's just time. The divine timing has happened. It is time for things to happen. We have, the world, which is like the end of potentially the cycle of the lack of decision making here. It's the end of the cycle of the Three of Swords, the end of the cycle of not choosing our paths by choosing, choosing anything but, because often when the divine tells us to go in a certain direction, it doesn't always make logical sense. And if you're a person that primarily thinks with logic, then here we go. You're gonna follow the money. You're gonna be like, this, it makes no sense for me to quit my job. Like, how will I make money? How would I sustain my lifestyle? Meanwhile, the divine is saying, hey, you need to quit your job so I can move you towards your purpose. And you're like, what is that purpose? A lot of us, sometimes, like, I don't know what my purpose is. And so we have the King of Cups. The King of Cups feels very deeply, but sometimes the King of Cups doesn't show that they feel very deeply. Let's get another card before I dive into this. All right. I'll keep it in reverse. So let's get one more card. So this King of Cups was looking at this Queen of Pentacles as if the Queen of Pentacles wasn't the Queen of Pentacles. Like I said, that leap of faith required this individual to look beyond the material. And they did not do that. That's how they got wrapped up in, off course and wrapped up in these third-party distractions. A lot of times I heard someone say, I was watching, I forget who it was. I was watching someone's YouTube video. And they said sometimes the divine will hide your blessing from you to see truly where your heart lies, to see if you're truly ready for what you've asked for. And I think that's this situation. Like, this King of Cups was a person who loved materialistic things, potentially. And in looking at, like I said, this Queen of Cups, the Queen of Cups is very grounded. The Queen of Cups is fertile. The Queen of Cups is abundant. And because the appearance of this individual did not represent that abundance, then the King of Cups refused or pulled back their affection. Yeah. And then we have the Moon card. We also have the Star, which, like I mentioned, divine timing. And that entire situation was about divine timing. It comes down to, like, the biggest lesson I've learned in life is about timing. Sometimes it's just not time. It's not time for you to have that promotion. It's not time for you to have that title. It's not time because you lack a skill that you will need in that new season. And when you haven't learned those skills, you end up looking at it and you won't even see it as a blessing because you don't have the skill set to be able to see it as a blessing. So there were a lot of things that were hidden. Yeah, this is validation of what I said. There were a lot of things that were hidden away from plain sight so that an individual's true colors could be seen. And yeah, we're often tested by the divine. Often. And sometimes we fail those tests. And, you know, failing those tests, we shouldn't look at that as a bad thing or a negative thing. It just means that we got a little more growing to do. And, you know, what's life without growing? Okay, so we've got divine timing. So Spirit, what is the outcome of this message that is seemingly all over the place, thanks to me and the way my brain works? Six of Pentacles. Six of Pentacles. This is Six of Pentacles can be, for me in this case, it's about reciprocity. It's about giving and receiving. It's about knowing that the work that you put in will be reciprocated. It's about knowing that when it's not reciprocating, having the wherewithal to know that it's time to move forward and walk away also. If you've been feeling lately that your hard work hasn't mattered, because I know that was my biggest gripe last week. I thought about all the work that I put in, everything, my career, my relationships, and I just felt like I was coming up empty. Like, I've put in all of this effort, all of this work, feeling like I have nothing to show for it. This is your sign that reciprocity is coming, that the divine sees you, that the divine is going to reward you for your hard work. The divine is going to reward you for staying the course, for believing when no one else would. This is confusing. I just need one card, Spirit. Thank you. I just get one card, Spirit. Okay. Yeah. You see the same ones are... Ooh. I'm trying to hop out. There we go. Page of Cups. And when that time comes to receive the desires of your heart, know that, and I'm going to go back to my Page of Wands and Page of Pentacles. We're here with the Page of Cups. know that that offer may be small, but don't be afraid to accept it. Don't turn your nose up at it, because sometimes it's the small things. If the divine and if God and spirit, you know, if you can't be trusted with the small things, you can't be trusted with the big things. You won't be able to receive the big things. And so we have judgment. So there's a resurrection of something coming through, a resurrection of whether that be a relationship, a career. There's something coming, you know, back to life. However that resonates for you. A reconciliation of sorts. You know, be at peace. Just be at peace. The divine has your back. You know, we all, sometimes I scowl at the thought of divine timing. Because, again, I'm action oriented. That's how I was created. That's how I'm made. And so I have to take extra effort to be patient. Because you don't want it before it's time. Because it ultimately won't last, or you will ultimately mess it up if it's not time. So we're about to enter into eclipse season. We got some planets going into retrograde. You know, I'm not a astrology expert. I just try to listen to make sure that, you know, I pick up on to have the awareness, because when you understand what's going on in astrology and how this all ties into our lives, it's easier to just take a step back and say, you know, no, you're not frustrated. No, you're not being held back. This is an illusion. You're a Mercury retrograde. Everything is slowing down for a reason. Just roll with it. Know that it's coming. It's coming. And I wish I could be that person that said, when, oh, in the next 3 months. No, I don't know. I don't know when it's coming for you. That's when you have to tap into your intuition and your knowing, and stand strong in your knowing, because there will be things presented, illusions presented for you, not for you, but to you. It won't be what it looks like. It will look like it's not happening. It will look like you're failing. It will look like the outcome is abysmal. But the sun is always here. The sun is here to illuminate, to shine light on what's not being seen. We don't get to... Having tarot is a gift. It is a gift. But at the end of the day, we don't get to know everything. I mean, we don't get to mind the business of the divine. We don't. There are things at play behind the scenes, in the darkness, that you don't see. And you may never see. But just know that this happy time, this exciting time, it's coming. You just got to continue to believe it's coming. I know it's hard. Lord knows I know it's hard. And this is as much for me as it is for you guys. It is terribly difficult. But when you can trust that the universe, the divine, spirit has your back, and you will be provided for no matter what, it helps you walk through these times of scarcity and do it with confidence, in knowing that you will be taken care of, you will be provided for. And all you got to do is believe. So I'm going to wrap it up here. Oh, Oh, I'm wearing, so I make jewelry out of crystals. So this is made out of hematite and freshwater pearls. If you like crystal jewelry and you're looking for something that's different and unique, check out my Etsy store, Vintage Goddess Designs. I'll link it in the description. If you made it this far, thank you. If you made it this far, hey, comment below. Let me know, how this resonated with you. Like I said, I love to talk to people and communicate with you guys. If you didn't make it this far, hey, it's all good. It's cool. I can't help but just like stare at these cards. But anywho, I'm gonna let you go, and I hope that you have a beautiful, beautiful day and many blessings to you. Take care and get some rest. Love you. Bye.